everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So like I always say, it's very important to pay attention to what Harry and Meghan and their Sussex squad do not talk about. They just want to go stay silent and move on to the next story. And of course, we all know right now the story they're drumming up is security, security, security. Well, I think we need to pull things back and not allow them to memory hole recent events. Very important. And we need to ask again, why are Harry and Meghan not addressing the Henry Nowak story? Nor did they address Mr. and Mrs. Girl Power. We're involved with girls and helping girls. They have nothing to say about the grooming gang report, the grooming gang inquiry reports. So, and also, as TRG has pointed out again and again, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are behind in influencing the minds of the public with their performance and false accusations to stirring up and creating more divisiveness between black and white, right? So this is, just left and right and male versus female, but I want to focus on the black and white aspect of it, because I think that not only because Meghan has on the Oprah Winfrey show, we all know, Meghan falsely accused the royal family of racism, and then Harry denied it later, said, no, Meghan never said the royal family was racist, right? And of course, that's all we hear about from their Sussex squad. Oh, the royal family's racist, KKK Kate, right? So they're constantly pushing the racist accusations consciously that we know about, right? We do know in some aspects, but a lot of aspects of what Harry and Meghan and their PSYOP with the CIA are doing is they're also influencing the racial divide unconsciously. Because when you're doing a PSYOP, you're trying to influence the public. It's from their perspective, the criminal's perspective. They want to do it. It's much more powerful to do it unconsciously, because of course, if it just seeps into your mind without your conscious mind saying, wait a minute, let's think about this for a second and critically analyze it, then you just absorb it into your mind. When you're exposed to something and you don't stop and think about it and say, wait, what's this influence? What's going on here? If you don't stop and consciously think about it, it'll just go into your subconscious and you just accept it, because anything that gets into your mind unconsciously is unquestioned. Your unconscious believes everything it's exposed to. It's up to your conscious mind to stop and say, wait a minute, let's critically think about this for a second. So I just want to look at a couple of unconscious influences or unconscious biases that Harry and Meghan have been pushing on the public for almost 10 years now, and has led to the death of Henry Nowak. The divisiveness and BLM and all of that, Harry and Meghan with their influence. So the first thing is the fact that supposedly Meghan Markle just loves black and white pictures, right? It's just we're supposed to just accept, yeah, she just loves black and whites. So if you see, just look at her Instagram, for example, she just loves posting black and white images of her and Harry, and always has. You remember their engagement picture, wedding picture they put out for Christmas card, black and white. So, just some examples of her black and white images. There's many out there that she's put out, but, we're just black and white. Again, that's an unconscious choice there to influence people to keeping black and white in mind always with Harry and Meghan. Because who really uses black and white images nowadays like that? It's not common for celebrities to use black and white images all the time. This is a Meghan thing. It's for years this has been the case. Now, even when they're not posting or publishing or giving Christmas cards that are all black and white, they're also wearing black and white all the time. You notice Harry and Meghan again and again. Meghan's in the white, Harry's in the black, or Meghan's in the black. Meghan with her white boyfriend t-shirt, black and white, always with the clothing. So you've got the black and white images she puts out. You've got the black and white clothing, constantly wearing black and white too. So this is unconsciously reinforcing their racial divisiveness, just keeping black and white as part of their storyline, as part of, again, she's supposed to be pregnant. She's wearing a black dress, black and white, but then on the beach, beginning of the year, all white, all black, all the time. So that's, again, black and white, always with the black and white. Even on the Oprah Winfrey show, what was she wearing? Black and white when she's with globalist Jose Andres, black and white, right? Always reinforcing that. All black, all white. So again, so that's two ways. So her black and white pictures to keep reinforcing black and white, black and white. The all black or all white outfits, reinforcing it unconsciously again. Never any colors here whatsoever, or generally speaking, a majority of her pictures are black and white, always. So this is just, again, reinforcing the divisiveness on an unconscious level, right? Just keep, not have you think about it, the fact that, it is always about black and white. And another aspect of the black and white that's unconsciously reinforced, I believe, is the fact that you have, of course, Meghan's alleged family, and you've got the black side and the white side. And notice over the years how differently they've performed. I say performed because I think the whole thing's a psyop. They're probably, none of them are related, but whatever. Let's assume they're related and this actually is the family. Observe how over the years they've behaved. The black side versus the white side. We all know, right? And even to this day, Dan Wooten just came out with another video with Samantha Markle, exposing something or other. Something that we've known for years, but they're just pushing it out again now. But that the white side is loudmouthed. They're the white trash. They've been in trouble with the law. They're liars. They're trying to profit off of Meghan and Harry writing books and being on TV shows in Australia and having GoFundMe accounts and YouTube channels, and they're just, loud and trashy and in your face and never shut up and blah, 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 giving interviews all the time. But the black side, well, they have a dignified silence, don't they? The black side of Meghan's family, you never hear from them. You never see them. They're not on social media, or if they are, they're extremely quiet. They never give interviews. They're almost like royal family, in that they never complain and never explain, right? You never see or hear anything. They're all very quiet, including Doria. Doria's very quiet. She has nothing to say, never responds to anything, just very always keeping her own counsel. So I think, again, this is part of the performance. You make the white side of the family look horrible and trashy and loudmouthed and whatnot. But the black side, very dignified silence, very royal behaving, not getting involved in all this mudslinging and etc. So I think this is another aspect of the psyop. I think on an unconscious level, right? Because it's never really formally addressed. It's not pointed out as such. But I think, given that this is all a psyop and a performance, that this is part of it, and it's meant to just be absorbed by you unconsciously and to just take it as that's the way life is. Just that the white people are always trashy and the black people always have a dignified silence, right? That's the message I'm getting here, that they're performing. And so it's, again, this creating more brouhaha and divisiveness and reinforcing this negativity against white people, because let's face it, that is the anti-white racism is the agenda of the whole, communist Marxist left to create more and more problems. So I want to see how Harry and Meghan's unconscious biases that they're inflicting upon the world, using the mainstream media with their intelligence operations behind them, that has led to the deaths of people like Henry Nowak, and how influential has it really been in the death of Henry Nowak, that Harry and Meghan don't want you to forget about. And yet, no, we're not going to let them forget. So let's take a look at this unconscious bias of racial hatred that Harry and Meghan inflict upon society. So I've noticed that in the summertime, I like using certain decks, like only in the summer, only in the forest enchantment deck. I hear, for some reason, there's certain decks that I pull out in the summertime, on the winter, and then vice versa. I don't know. I think because the forest imageries are all very summery looking, so it just seems more appropriate. The forest. So anyways, let's take a look though onto this reading. How has the unconscious subliminal messages and performances being performed? And it's ironic that Harry and Meghan are talking about unconscious bias all the time, and that's exactly what they've been producing and what their mission has been, I believe. So how much of this unconscious bias that Harry and Meghan have created and continue to inflict upon the world, how much of this actually led to, you know, the influence on the minds of the people, on the masses? Because Harry and Meghan have a worldwide, massive, as stupid and ridiculous and ugly as they are, they have a worldwide impact with who they are, the family they belong to. I mean, not who they are, but the family they're associated with. So let's take a look here. How much of an impact did Harry and Meghan's CIA subconscious influence, the attack on the minds of the masses, how much did that lead, how much did that influence things to lead to Henry Nowak's death, where the police are afraid to be called racists, so they let a man die? Harry and Meghan have nothing to say about it, not a thing. Well, look at it. The time of the death, what influence from the past, everything they've been doing for the past 6-7 years, and going forward, the influence of Harry and Meghan, negative influence on the race relations around the world. Let's see what the cards show. Okay, just about spit it on there. Okay, so how much influence do they have on the death there? Ooh, Emperor. Wow, right away, Emperor keeps coming up with them and their influences with this. So it's governmental, it's deep state, it's they're influencing. Their influence is very powerful here. It's about control. It's about being associated with governmental influences. Oh my goodness, the death card in this deck, the black shuck is of death. It looks very evil, doesn't he? But this is actually death. Death, the government inflicted death, government's actions that Harry and Meghan partake in, NATO and all the rest of it. Globalists, you can look at the globalists because they control all the governments, right? As we saw in 2020, leading to death and more death. Sun, again, power and shining, you know, the lights, the sun. I always think with Harry and Meghan, Sunshine Sacks, their PR being very powerful and pushing out its energy, which is normally a positive card, but they're pushing out, it's next to death, and with the government, it's using the power of the government, the power of what they're doing and how the spotlight they're under. Four of Boons reversed, like Four of Coins. And this is about greed and strife and being, you know, out of control, reversed, being too, they're graspy, greedy, and unsettling. The four is a number of stability upright, so reversed is destroying the stability between, you know, the people, trying to upset society. Because the whole idea of communism and what Harry and Meghan are pushing is that, you know, those greedy millionaires, billionaires, you know, they got to distribute that wealth so everybody has it. So there's like, it's all based on greed and wanting to take other people's money. They don't want people to have private property. You know, they don't want, so this is like, that's greed factor. So they're pushing that as well, as part of this, saying, you know, and the whole thing about another aspect of them and their attack is using racism as a basis for communist propaganda. So instead of landowners versus peasants like it was in Mao Revolution, now it's the white supremacy that has everything and we got to take it from them. So that's another, aspect of it, and pushing that ideology along with it, the communists, pushing of it, because that's what her and her Sussex squad are, all socialist communists. Oh, and again, Ace of Swords reversed, which is death, destruction. I'm getting death and death. I actually got the death card. So without a doubt, Harry and Meghan and their propaganda has been very destructive and caused more than one death. But definitely Henry Nowak's death for sure. And the Six of Coins reversed. So the corruption, I can sort of see this as like a refugee. They're using them as well. The influx, which has led to more hostilities as well. So Harry and Meghan are pushing the race divide consciously and unconsciously, and also pushing the communism and pushing more violence, which ends more violence and ends also with the corrupt influence they have in dealing with these issues and pushing the illegal migrations and whatnot, and the unfair practices of distributing homes and whatnot, funds, money, because that's another aspect of it. It's not just that countries were invaded, but that the governments are giving all this money to them, right? They got their phone, they got free housing, free food, free health care. I mean, everything's just handed to them. So that's another aspect of it. And of course, Harry and Meghan took advantage of that with Biden and the U.S. aid to do more of that. So there's a lot of money here, coins and coins, but also which led to Henry Nowak's death. But I'm getting major arcana, major arcana, major arcana, ace. So yeah, we can safely say that Harry and Meghan and their governmental or CIA type influences here did lead to the death, very prominent death here of Henry Nowak, and the lack of stability and the pushing of destroying in order to bring in their communist utopia or their Marxist utopia, same difference, ideologies. So they want to kill white people, and then they also want to bring in the communism at the same time, right? So how about leading up to Henry Nowak's death? Harry and Meghan with their black and white pictures, black and white outfits, racism, 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 how much they influence it leading up. And I get 5 of Wands reversed. Yeah, so their Sussex squad and their battles and their deplatformings and just constant attacks on social media, the influence of social media on people are very powerful. Moonlight, the fear going on at the same time, because don't forget we had a COVID psyop at the same time, as well as all the fears drumming up and other scandals. So major arcana, so right underneath the death card. So yes, the hysteria of Harry and Meghan's very prominent psyop, and you can look at the moon as a psyop type of card. And of course, the full moon, Meghan likes doing her stuff on new and full moons. I wouldn't doubt Meghan's, spell work with her Satanists also led to Henry Nowak's death. A lot of powerful forces there. 3 of Cups reversed. Yes, bringing in sadness, depressing people, being destructive with their, buddies there they worked with, Renee DeResta, Tristan Harris, Maria Ressa, and everybody else, Chris Krebs, Katie Couric, Jory Craig, and of course Imran Ahmed. And I got that under the sun. So working powerfully in the media and conspiracy with these other criminals. Then we've got the King of Cups down here. So I see this also as with the backing of King Charles and Prince William. We could look at it as, and that's under the 4 of Coins reversed, which shows that the battle of, allegedly of Harry and Meghan wanting exactly, they were greedy and wanted exactly what Kate and William had because that's progressive or Marxist communist. and that Meghan thinks she should be treated equal to Catherine and William and all of that. So that battle was also another facet of this, and of course brought in the black and white thing as well. The white family members are protected, but not Meghan. Meghan's not protected. And the insinuation, of course, is because she's black, right? And then we've got, not because she's a witch on wheels, but anyhow, 5 of Swords reversed. You got the nasty giant monster here, out of control and nasty. I say this like the CIA here. And of course, that's under the Ace of Swords reversed. So this is indicating the death and destruction. And also, just going back for a second to the Sun with the 3 of Cups reversed, this is also their Harry and Meghan's connections. Like we now know they had a WhatsApp group with the major British BBC, ITV, and all of that, cruise ships and all that. So the media connections that they have, particularly in Britain, well, in the US as well, but that really helped them as well push this unconscious and conscious divisiveness. It's a very powerful influence here. Yeah, and helping to promote these scandals leading to death, and the battling online being helped by government, Chia Pet influences there. So in the last, and the death and destruction here, 5 of Swords with Ace of Swords reverse, the manipulativeness, that's the out of control attacks, again, attacks on journalists, attacks on regular people. Attacks on YouTubers, everyone, Nikki Wally, Ashley, everyone that's also been to promote, because of course the Sussex Squad versus the Megxit, right, is also black and white as well. So that's another aspect of, that's why they want that. That's why it's so important to Meghan to have all these black supporters, or who pretend to be black supporters, because I've seen online that pictures of them, and a lot of them are middle-aged white women on the Sussex, but they promote themselves through only the black members are the only ones you see, right? They don't show themselves online, generally, not most of them anyways. Even the ones that went to Australia, you didn't see any pictures of them, right? They put general picture of the whole crowd, but they didn't say who they were, and I think a lot of them were white. But yeah, but the image that they're projecting through that Erica Christine woman, who's the loudmouth that I posted videos, black woman, right? Because so the PR, in other words, the PR front for the Sussex Squad is they're all black, and as Christopher Boozy, convenient, along with this narration on Netflix, said, oh, all the people who criticize Meghan are middle-aged white women. So that's another of the black and white divide they've conjured up, right? They made sure, even though it's not factual, you've got black and white on both sides. That's the image their PR projects to keep the black and white hatred growing that they want. And of course, it's tied into their communism, right? Those are white supremacists that because they blame capitalism for racism and slavery. They say capitalism caused slavery, right? Not that slavery has been around the world, in Africa, in the Middle East for thousands of years. No. It was capitalism that created it. That's the story they go by. Anyways, and Harry and Meghan are pushing. So then, last one, child. This is the Page of Swords reversed. So again, lies, nastiness, attacking children, using children. Meghan with her speech to her high school saying, push us harder. Society isn't what it's meant to be. You need to get in there and get in people of power. And you remember that speech she gave where she sounded like a shrieking political advocate there, really nasty with the BLM stuff. So that's, again, also part of this, getting the children, corrupting the children, and influencing the children, young people, mental health. Trying to influence the young people's mental health has been big on there, because they really want to get the young people as racist as possible, because they're the ones with the energy. So if you're going to have a revolution, you got to have the young people and their energy behind you to do it. So that's been another focus. So yeah, so I do get very much a very negative influence on people with their scandals, their big scandals, major arcana. They were working together with the media connections and CIA and all of that, and being very nasty. 5 of Swords, Page of Swords reversed. It's a bunch of lies. The whole psyop, just lies all over the place. So going into the future, how are Harry and Meghan's influence with their unconscious bias of their black and white? I got Four of Cups reversed. So, people are pretty sick of them already, as we know, and people are getting more and more bored of them. But they are still going to continue to try to reverse that. They're going to continue trying to, especially with government influences and government actions, right? So Harry and Meghan are going to continue being involved with the government as they have been, as we saw with them with Vivek Murphy and the Biden administration, pushing the Child Safety Act, aka censorship or a digital ID for adults. So they are going to continue trying to push buttons here with their government connections and government actions that they take. I wonder what government actions they're going to take in the UK, which, Shabana Mahmood and all that, and other people in that government. I'm sure you'll see something. Then we get, this is the Queen of Swords here reversed. Yeah, so being evil, cold, kind of witch here. Kind of like Megalodon here. So I do see them getting nastier, colder, and not even speaking. I get it reversed. So like not even addressing all the death and destruction they've caused with this and with what they continue doing. And anything they push is just going to be negative image from, especially from Meghan. It's going to be all negative, attacking, playing the victim, and negative influence. And we got Ace of Cups. So a new beginning, a child perhaps, but using of a new beginning, and that, of course, a new beginning in the media with their connections. So I think that could be looked upon in the future as this, Harry and Meghan flee the royal family and now they're coming back. Well, at least one of them is. So we see that kind of new, fresh, new start, emotional start to try to encourage people to start paying attention to what the media stories again that they're going to push out, particularly around the children. And then we get Two of Swords. This particular Two of Swords, you have a man and looking in the mirror here, stopped in his tracks there. And of course, you could look at that as, the mirage, the image being projected, on the screen. That's not reality, like shadows on the cave wall there. So, and you could also look at this as like a cell phone, he's walking into the forest and he's confronted by the black mirror of the internet there projecting. So I do get, I find it's kind of interesting because Harry and Meghan, they're always targeting regular people online, right? When they doxed, back in 2019, they doxed UK citizens and put regular citizens and blasted them all over the mainstream media, the Sun. And I do think that, and now with the Child Safety Act, also targeting regular people and trying to get their data, get their ID, and make money off of that. So I do get that targeting. And also with Harry's Travelist, that he's working with globalist connections on that as well, as targeting the traveling. So this person's traveling and trying to get your data and your climate credit, right? So I see more attacks via the internet on and being greedy with the Four of Coins reversed. And with the King of Cups down here, the backing of the royal family, who's also very much pushing this climate change and digital ID, child safety nonsense. So I do see that continuing, but that also being part of the attack on humanity and portraying them negatively. They're going to, because if they get everybody's data, they're going to be weaponizing that against them even more. And then what else? I get the Nine of Coins reversed. So instability here, financial instability. You could say using that to try to play the victim here and claim that she's not getting everything that Catherine has. And it's so racist, attack. And another attack they'll use is that, Meghan's should have more. And the last one, I get, the High Priestess. Oh, I see some magical possible witch work going on here. The High Priestess would be, along with the Moon, about the unconscious, right? This is things that are not upfront and direct, but an influence here. And with the corruption and with the putting out the messaging here with the Page of Swords under it and the Six of Coins reversed. So I do think a lot of secrets. This is also secrets. So secretive deals, financial deals, money laundering, transactions like, the things like the Sussex Squad having raising funds, tens of thousands of dollars, just magically raising all this money, and have been for years, just miraculously tens of thousands of people just donate to them. Things like that going on. A lot of shadiness, as we know, with Harry and Meghan and their Archwell. So besides their political activities, there was a lot of money going around and being shuffled around that they're keeping secret, successfully secret, as they monetize and work for the globalists and pushing racism consciously and unconsciously. So I do get major arcana, one major arcana up here. So not as powerful going forward, but they are also being quiet with the High Priestess, not saying anything about the death of Henry Nowak here, but they have been instrumental in bringing it forward and pushing this, psyop on people, just upsetting them even more on top of the other psyop of COVID and whatnot and the globalists. So I do get that they have been instrumental in, and very much a direct influence of getting a lot of attack cards here, a lot of death cards, a lot of manipulativeness, Queen of Swords reversed, just the fact that their CIA and them have been messing with the minds of people, and especially online and off, and making people, fight over their appearance. I mean, if you think about it, that's all it is. It's like, what do you look like? That's how you're being judged. It's so, I mean, and this is what Harry and Meghan push, and this is the agenda that all the Marxist communists are pushing. So yeah, and they are silently in a lot of ways, they're not being silent, but they are silent in some ways, and how much they're involved in what their real intentions are with everything they do. And it's a lot more than what meets the eye. Yeah, but it certainly points to the fact that their influence on humanity with their powerful PR and publicity and attracting people with their storytelling and Netflixes and everything else has been a very powerful influence on destruction of society and attack on people, and causing more divisiveness with the black and white. And of course, the Queen of Swords is like the only card that's like black and white, right? So it's like really basically the only one. So you get this black and white, and I get a reverse. It's Queen of Swords reverse. This nasty, lying, vicious assassin woman. And somebody said Meghan Markle is probably an assassin, and that's right above the death card. So the death because of the assassin Meghan Markle, and underneath that is the moon. Creating fear, scandal, upset, making people go a little cuckoo. I mean, BLM made people, and COVID and all that made people go, a little cuckoo there. I mean, that was a sign. We all have PTSD from that. So a major arcana, Queen of Swords, Meghan, reverse. Yes, this is the death of Henry Nowak, definitely directly related to Meghan and her psyop, and Harry. It's not Meghan alone. And she had a lot of help from the emperor government here and the powerful media connections, the Sun. So absolutely 100%, Meghan and her pals and her BLM pals like Misan Harriman and Balani Ngozi and all the rest of them, all guilty of this. And the royal family has done nothing to stop it. And they are also backing it in a quiet way. Yeah, they're left Harry and Meghan on the website. They support them. King Charles, doesn't has nothing to say about Henry Nowak or the grooming gang report either. So the royal family says nothing, and Harry and Meghan say nothing about it. These huge scandals in the UK, it's just unbelievable. And they wanted to slide right by and memory hole it, but we can't let them, because they are guilty. They have caused this. They continue to cause it, and they're doing it unconsciously as well as on you consciously. So pay attention to what they don't say and what is unspoken in their CIA psyop, because that is very much part of what they do and have been doing and will continue to do. So there you have it. That is what I see. Harry and Meghan and their black and white unconscious bias psyop, and how it led to his death? I get a resounding yes. So if you found this interesting, please like and subscribe. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.